and welcome to this episode of Conscious Design. I'm your host, Ian Peterman, author of the Conscious Design book, and I'm here with Moyang, founder of MOYA. Then what she works in is sustainable tote bags in the fashion industry. Welcome to the episode.
Hello, hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into what you're doing, but I'd like to step back first a little bit into how you got into this role. What got you to really start MOYA and being thinking about sustainability? And we talked about a lot in our previous calls, so we'll just start there and go from there.
Sure. Okay. Well, sustainable. I mean, sustainable handbags it's a topic that's been around for ages, and I've personally I've also been working in the luxury fashion industry for the last 10 years. So it's always been there, and I've been actively involved in my previous work as well. So it's always been something that really holds a very special place for me. And so when I sort of decided to kind of try doing something myself and try some designs myself and starting a new label, sustainable aspect is sort of already there. So whatever it is that we have to do, it has to first of all make sure that it's sustainable. So but in terms of my own experience from the past, I'm not a traditional designer myself, and I've worked in luxury fashion businesses, mostly in e-commerce businesses and fashion technology related. So I'm more my experience is more focused on the marketing side of it. Last year I basically had an opportunity. I was on my mat leave and had an opportunity to sort of play around with materials and really wanted to dive into this whole sustainable fashion thing. And I wanted to have it hands-on. I wanted to have that hands-on experience of understanding what it is to make something like that, because everyone was saying it's difficult, it's messy market, it's greenwashing all going through. I just wanted to really get my hands dirty and fully understand what that means. So that really kind of started when I was on my mat leave, and having that opportunity, I just bought some materials over and started trying it out, and turned out I felt like I felt quite good with my own designs. And and until one point, it was through a contact, I got to meet a fashion buyer from Harrods, and ex-fashion buyer from Harrods, and I got her over, and she had a look at the design, like really scrappy prototypes that I made at home with beginner tools, and she was like, "Those are amazing! Like you should really try to sell those." And I think there would be a really good market for it. And she was particularly interested in the crocheted handbags, and those are quirky. Those are things that you don't really see from design perspective. You've not seen them on the market, but at the same time, I actually felt like these crocheted handbag designs are actually more sustainable as well. Because when I was trying to design, I actually learned a lot about leather making. So I had leather models as well as crochet models and fabric bags, etc. I've tried on many things myself, and but I think that conversation with people from the industry really gave me that encouragement that crochet handbags they're very unique. You don't see them everywhere. And the designs are great as well, that the sustainable aspect is absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's when it really just started, kind of starting from there. And I was thinking, right, maybe I should do something about it. And then, a month later, I started my own label.
Amazing. And one of the things that we talked about this a little bit before, and you mentioned it, is the crochet part. And kind of luxury, right? When most people think of a luxury handbag, there's automatically it should be leather, and that's just kind of nobody's really challenged that idea ever. And so I think it's really great that you're kind of challenging that idea, like, well, it's not the only material, right? There's a lot of great materials, and what you brought up too, it was like, this is very unique. I think that's something that's great to see, that you're kind of pushing that envelope and going, well, actually, let's think about what is luxury and really define it in a little bit different way, and expand the idea of what materials could really be used.
Yeah, completely. And I think that's what, okay, I still find it strange to call myself a designer, but I guess I am. And I also
I
felt
would say you are.
a great, I also felt a great responsibility of, being a designer. I think it's our responsibility to bring new ideas onto the table, especially if those ideas will give us the greater good. And I think
Right.
the crochet is absolute part of it. It's, from the very beginning of my business, I realized that, specializing in crochet is such a niche, and at the same time is just not traditionally seen as luxury, because
Right.
people feel like my grandmother can make those, and that's one, so why do I pay for it? Some people
Right.
definitely still feel that way. And there is also the aspect where crochet as a technique in itself, it's seen as old-fashioned. It's seen as a, it's something
Right.
that grandmothers do, or when, something I would get into when I retire, or, there were lots of presumptions held around crochet and design around crochet itself. Whereas, I felt like it's an opportunity, because it's different. And if
Right.
everyone's already doing leather, and then what's the fun of joining that party? Why don't we do something different?
Right.
And especially, I think, that was, again, it was conversations I've had with my, the people that I know from the industries, and, having chat with them and really discuss the opportunities and, the potential risks, everything all evaluated together. And I think it's worth risking that to just sort of bringing just, but the most important thing to take that risk is, in the first instance, you need to bring something different, something new onto the market. So with our designs, why don't I just show you? So this is one of my first model that is on sale at the moment. And this is also among, this one is our, like, a proper produced from the factory, so it's actually really high quality. Whereas, when I was having those conversations in the beginning, I only had my very scrappy prototype that I made at home myself with retail yarns. It's not even anything that special, but then people straight away picked up, and the design of it being it's actually quite luxurious, and it's very unique. It's just very different take on how crochet, other sort of crochet bags you tend to see on, say, Etsy, for example.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to create, because I think for a luxury, what is, in the end of the day, what is luxury design? You can't really put your finger on it, but you just need to look at the products and need to feel, okay, it makes me feel great. It's something that I wanted to pay for, and it makes me feel a better version of myself. Especially it has the sustainability aspect to it as well. This entire bag is made from organic or recycled materials, as well as the leather. Our leather is a super nice luxury leather, but those are end of the line materials, which means they were part of a larger production for another brand, often very luxury brands. And but they have a few pieces that's left over, so they no longer need it. So it was left to the tanneries, and then we go around to several different tanneries and ask if you have any single pieces that you can't really use anymore, and we kind of just sweep those up and put them to use.
And that makes it a little unique, each one too, right? Because you're taking the, part of a run, so it means you'll use up that material, and then once it's done, the next batch you get could be a totally different.
Exactly. So in the beginning, we were obviously a bit worried about, is this going to be a problem? Because with people, we can only take 1 or 2 photos with these materials. We can't take a photo, not every single piece that is different, but most likely, you know, the pieces that reach customers would likely to be a bit different, and or it's just uncontrollable. You know, sometimes, you know, we get 2 or 3 hides per type of products if they have that many left, but sometimes we'll just get 1 or 2,
Right.
and you know, it's very difficult to say which one that the customer is going to get. But you know, we've done some research around that in particular, and it looks like people love that. Actually, they really do love that factor.
I feel like it
yeah,
I feel like it almost plays to the luxury
unique.
part.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, you know, I own this piece, which has a part of the material that is unique just to myself, and that no one else has that exact type of texture or, you know, look, or, you know, just the finishing on the material itself. So like, yeah, people really do love that factor. Some people would say, you know, we would prefer if it's very, very different from the photo that you've shown on your website, and I prefer to have a look at it to decide. And some people would say, surprise me.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that actually became a really good factor in itself. And yeah, I'm very excited. I think personally I'm one of those surprise me please
Right.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love the idea, and it's because people will pay extra to be unique. Oftentimes, right? You're like, oh, well, I want, you know, I want my name engraved on it or something like that. Like makes it yours and not mass produced, which I also feel is like how people measure luxury. Is like, well, did you make 1 million of these? Because then can you really say it's actually luxury? Because there's 1 million of us that own the same exact thing. Whereas,
Absolutely.
like what you're saying here, I don't know how many you
Definitely.
make, but I'm assuming you can't make 1 million out of one piece of leather. So you're really limiting
Absolutely.
that already.
Yeah, absolutely true. And that is why that we're staying with, you know, small batch production. We operate by pre-orders only. That again, that is to reduce waste, and so that we would be able to produce to the exact demand amount that's been ordered. And yeah, so that sort of helps on the sustainability aspect. You just, you know, seeing how much waste that there is. I think the data on fashion garment, it, like on average, the waste to produce per garment is around 35%. So if you think about like buying a top and the amount of waste that is generated by creating this top, is about 35% of this entire product. And it's just it may really make me feel very sad when I'm thinking about it, and just really worried about the future if that is how much waste that we're going in just by purchasing one. So it's way beyond money or anything. So you know, when I in the first instance, when I tell people that we're going to go for pre-orders only, and there are many people were saying that sounds a little bit crazy, because why would you want to miss out? You know, there are lots of theories about, especially around luxury shoppers, who are, you know, often they are impulse shoppers. So you would want it to really grip into that moment when they wanted to buy the bag, they want it now, because everything's about being fast these days, and anybody who buys something online, they want it next hour. They can't even wait for 3 days. And you are creating a brand that makes people wait for months. And so obviously, like, there are many people would have that sort of doubt, and including myself in the very beginning as well. But I think evaluating everything, I just can't live past through the thoughts of having to, you know, having to have part of my orders all gone into either like a massive sale or just end up on landfill, or, you know, for me, I probably wouldn't let my products finish in landfill. I would probably have to take it apart and try to do something like recreate something with it. But then again, as such a young business ourselves, we are just muddling through. We need to survive in this. So that's another, obviously that's a very realistic concern as well, keeping stock and inventory and not being able to sell it all. That is a very big concern, obviously, from the health of a business perspective. So balancing out everything, I've sort of in the end just decided, let's just, you know, we've been taking risks. Let's take one more.
Well, it's funny because I actually see pre-orders as making it less risky, because you don't want to order 10,000 and only have 1,000 of them sold. Like, that's, especially as a startup, that's super risky, because now if you're going to buy that many, you're out the money. The manufacturer is not going to take it back.
Absolutely.
How have you, like, in your experience in running this now, how have you seen, have you had any issues, or have you been able to do the pre-order and it just worked? Like, how's your experience with that process been?
It's been fun.
That's good.
Yeah, honestly, it's been fun. It's obviously it was. I'm not saying we figured it all out. We are still in that process. We're just in the beginning, very very beginning of this whole process. But it was definitely a very steep learning curve, but at the same time, it really positively surprised us in many ways, in terms of how much that people actually wanted to get involved with the brand. And it's almost fun for our customers as well to, when in the moment when they saw the bag, it's the products that attracts them in. However, instead of, traditionally what people would think, like people are attracted to a product, they just want it straight away. They want to get it. They want to own it straight away. We found loads of customers actually wanted to interact with the brand. They want to learn more about our stories. And it's almost like they were like, oh, I'm really committed. Like, I love this product, even though I don't get it straight away. But if I get to learn and get to interact with the team, with the producers of the bag, learning more about the stories, it feels like I am more part of it as well. Especially, we really carry and commit to our sustainability ethos,
Right.
and our values. And we love sharing stories about how we started something, how we made decisions with the leather, how we source the yarns. We've actually changed the yarns a couple of times while we're developing the products, and we were already in marketing for our bags. And however, our customers are actually surprisingly forgivable. Like, they're very forgiving, and they understand the processes we have to go through. And a lot of the effort is because we're trying to be sustainable and be more sustainable. And we share those stories on our Instagram, 100%. Literally, sometimes I feel like it's dangerous how much information we're actually telling our customers about, but we don't want to hold any back. We want our customers to be in the same line with us and fully understanding what we're going through. So we had this 100% transparency approach when it comes to communication, and that became a very nice story filler and interaction that is formed between in the time between the purchasing, that the customer has purchased the bag as pre-order, and the time they're going to actually receiving the order.
Hey, it's Ian here. So glad you're enjoying this episode of Conscious Design. If you want the full scoop on conscious design, what it is, how we do it, how you can do it, then check out our book. We wrote it so creative entrepreneurs like you can code social and environmental responsibility right into your brand's DNA. You can download the first chapter for free. Link is in the description. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It sounds like you're doing basically relationship building through the process, and you're able to connect with these customers on a much deeper level, and they're more, like you said, they feel like they're more a part of it. It sounds like you guys are aligning much more on like a mission basis. Like, they are attracted to the brand because they're like, we really care about being sustainable. We care about what you're doing, and we want to see that happen. And so they're like,
I think there is the interesting part with this is, you see traditional brands. I say traditional, and as in like every other brand, when they sell a product, it's that many brands will still hold that story, and they do that storytelling and interaction with their customers. They do it really, really well. But that tends to happen after the purchase. Usually it's after the customers receive the products, they love it, they post pictures, and you see sort of interactions happening in the post-purchase part. Whereas, you know, the interesting thing for us is that we are doing a lot of that interaction before the customer actually receive the product. And that's what personally I found it very interesting as well, because you would see how much people actually commit from an idea, and even without having to receive the products, but they wanted to involve more, because before we start the production of these products, we actually there are lots of opportunity points and lots of change, like things are still changing. So we literally already started selling while we're still tweaking the design of our product. And you will see that, and our customers actually see it as an opportunity to influence the design itself. And and I'm not talking about like huge difference, like changing the size of the bag, or the, you know, changing a large part of it, changing the design of it entirely. It's not like that, just small tweaks. The design is there, but the small tweaks, for example, for this bag, so what you're seeing, this is still not the final model. Actually, we're still developing it, and follow our Instagram if you wanted to. So we're kind of exchanging stories about this all the time. So the latest one that we haven't posted, but very soon, it's all about, so we want this bag actually to be washable. So again, a washable bag is something that's very, very new, especially it doesn't happen, especially if it's leather. It's definitely not washable.
You can't put leather in a washing machine.
Yeah, but we want this bag, especially it's a white model. We have a black model as well. But anyway, this is a white model, and we really want people to be able to use it over and over again. You know, again, this is about the sustainability. You have to allow people to use it more, and that's always, you know, it's better.
And then clean it,
and have a way to take care of it, and so that really extends the lifespan of a product. So we were putting so much effort into making this bag washable, which means this leather badge has to come off. We have straps, shoulder straps in leather as well, and we already have a way to sort of let it attach to the crochet part, but those can be removed. So this one is already removed. But the badge was a problem, because we need to find a way to let people be able to detach and attach it very easily, and it needs to be secure enough. And so we've actually gone through about 5, or actually a lot more than at least 5 different ways to do that detachable mechanism. And the latest one, finally we figured it out about just 2 weeks ago. And it's a little snap button. So the look of this bag is still going to change a tiny bit from this model. The final one would have little gold studs.
Oh, for the snap.
Yeah, exactly. So that is where the snaps will attach. So this one is actually sewn on, because this is my photography model. So I just had it sewn on. But that customer version would have these removable. So it's like on a snap, so you can just snap it in or just yank it off. So just for that's just an example of how, you know, we have already been selling our products, but we've been very honest with our customers that we're doing our best to make it washable. We're going to make it happen, but we do have challenges, and we've gone through many of our older customers. I say customers, so like people who have been following us from the beginning. They've seen our very first model, which had a sambra, which is like one of those things you kind of push it through a hole in order to attach. So we had those buttons, but those don't work because they were like very difficult to push through. And then the second model was magnets. So we had magnets attached to it, and then some magnets on the other side of the bag, and sort of the two parts would come together. But then we realized that it's just not secure enough, and people might be losing the badge all the time. Because it's very easy to just, you know, attach and detach. However, it doesn't stay in place. It's a bit too easy. So that one didn't work out either. And then we tried then we were thinking about the snaps. However, the problem is there are snaps that can't be washed. So that's a material choice as well. And there are different types of snaps that it's just all about how easy to attach it, how secure it really is, that it has to evaluate the weight and the texture of the materials, and to kind of figure out a best way to have it on easily, but at the same time, like, stay in the place. So that was actually, it's, when I was designing these products, I thought it was so easy. But
well, it's always easy on paper, and then it gets harder.
But you know what, that's what I'm telling myself is, no innovation supposed to be easy, I guess. So, and we're talking about a bag that can be washed, so potentially, because it's all made from, the crochet part is made from organic cotton. So if it's wool or something, it might be really not worth trying to make it washable. However, we chose this material because it's easy care, and then just this tiny little step further, we would be able to let people wash it. So I've been trying very, very hard to make that happen. And yeah, in the end, well, it is happening, and we're really excited. So hopefully next week we'll be able to have a final sample to show to everyone. But anyway, yeah, so I went on a really long story there, but I think yeah, so the point is, though, it was to my surprise as well how well our customers are taking the sort of getting involved way of buying a product and having to wait for months. But in the process of that, they actually they feel like they're really involved with our design process. They get a vote. We do votes on Instagram all the time. So, and we actually listen to those. Yeah, and we really do listen to those opinions. And let me see if I've actually, no, I don't have that particular. Oh,
well,
yeah,
that's great, because you really are involving them, and you can see like, oh, I voted for this option, definitely. And they liked it.
To give you that example, we had this label that's just the easy wash label that all the bags or your garments would have. Just the design of this label is a choice from our communities on Instagram. And we've had the label, the traditional label where it's sewn on one side and it's kind of flappy. So you can have it like what you have on your clothes. So that is the easiest way to just have it done. But we wanted to create, again, something different and something more, fashionable. And so we gave those choices to our customers, and we were just like, whatever you guys choose, we're gonna, that's going to be the one that we go for. And so this one actually won 100% out of about 50 or 60 votes altogether on Instagram. Wow. So yeah, 100%, like not even a single person.
Not even a waiver. It's just all.
No.
Well, so apparently we all hate that tag then, which I feel is accurate. I don't know anybody that likes that tag.
Yeah.
We all want to cut it off.
It makes you, yeah, exactly. And it makes you wonder, like, why are all the tags in that way?
Right, why do we still do
once you ask the question, everybody chose this one. It's like 100%. So we're like, okay, easy decision.
Right. Well, that's amazing. And that's such an amazing connection, right? Because that's something that a lot of companies, even if they have some of, they don't take advantage of. Hey, we can get feedback from our customers to make sure, because that's something that I feel like more companies need to do, is figure out what do their customers want before you go make a product, rather than feel like the kind of the old way is like, well, here's the product, we hope it sells. we asked a few people and they said yes, so we'll make it, rather than this process of, hey, we're improving it, how about you help us improve it in the way that you like, since you're the one who's already spent the money. You're invested in it.
Well, exactly. You're already invested in it. You're like part of it, and that's how we want our customers to feel in that way. Because we don't see them just people who buy our products, and we want their opinion. We want to know who they are, We encourage them to come and introduce themselves to us on Instagram so that we get to stalk them as well. And it's really, it brings, I think this is where I really see the future of fashion labels. In the end of the day, fashion represents that community. You represents the people, and fashion, because fashion exists to help people express themselves. And
right.
you know, and traditionally, I guess, it's all about, you know, an inspiring creative person who had a vision and a view, and they made something and then they put it out there for people, and then people follow and they purchase, they interact with it. Whereas I really feel like in this day and age, people wanted to be involved a little bit earlier. They want to be heard. They want to be, you know, if you're creating a product for me, I want my opinions as part of it. So,
Right.
but, you know, again, I can also see that there had been, it's not like every decision point is suitable for this. You can't just, you know, throw something blank out there and let people draw whatever they want out there. And you're not going to get anything creative other than, you know, a bunch of mess.
No, you might just get the magnets only, and then nobody, we're like, well, but it doesn't work. So it's
Yeah,
not.
exactly. So it's still, you know, I'm saying that, but I can totally see the difficulties and risks and everything. And like I said, we are just in the very beginning of this, and it gets me
Yeah.
very excited. But at the same time, we are still just figuring things out ourselves. And but yeah, but at least we get some fun so far.
Yeah. Well, I see, and I can see, it's funny. I've talked to like 6 people in the fashion industry just in the last week. And like there's all this waste, but it's all in the high production. So I'm looking at what you're doing, and this would be a great, if we get all mass produced products to shift to this model, it would fix that. And it would allow that co-creation, and people would be more interested in it, right? You wouldn't have clothing that people are just like, well, nobody wants that, right?
Yeah.
And then I also see like, what are they called? Couture and like custom, like if you want to do crazy artwork clothing, like nobody's saying don't do that. But for this mass produced stuff, that what you guys are doing, what you've come up with is, I think, an amazing approach to reducing the waste. I think somebody earlier today was saying it's a dump truck every second around the world is what we lose in throwaway and from the fashion industry.
Yep.
And it's like, well, that's a lot. That's a lot of wasted
It's
material.
scary. Yeah, it's scary.
And so like just how you've done pre-order, I mean, it just makes so much sense. You've had such a good response from people. It's people can input, and you're not going to make 10,000 extra bags that you're going to have to, even if you did, you know, recycle them. It's a work. It's a process to recycle something.
Yeah.
It's not free. So
definitely, I think you know, I've seen loads of people tempting to do this because they see the commercial benefits out of it, like what you're saying. You know, we don't keep stock, so you know we don't have the inventory problems, which is still one of the largest problems that could kill a startup e-commerce
and you
business.
have to pay for it. You have to pay for like a warehouse and stuff.
Yeah, you pay for it, and yeah, especially if it's luxury, you paid a lot of money up front to have it produced, but then you're not able to sell it, or it's almost like it's a sure loss in the money. And so you know, a lot of people are seeing the benefit of that. However, I also feel like people are not doing it because they're afraid of missing out on purchases. And I'm pretty sure I am missing out on purchases. I'm sure that there are loads of impulse shoppers and, you know, people who love your product so much and they just can't wait to have it the next day. Otherwise, they might just straight away move on to something else, because that's how this world makes us believe this is how it's run. It makes us, you know, there are companies like Amazon that does, I know that in the US, Amazon does like 1 hour delivery or something. In the UK, it's
one day is normal, and then you can get faster.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there are just competitions and capabilities of these giant corporate, and they are able to, they can enable these great things. Not, I'm not saying it's bad, it's great, it's very convenient. So, and but at the same time, it's creating that urgency of having to deliver that straight away. And it's like your business can't survive if you don't deliver something straight away. And I really think that this is, it's an illusion in itself. And people are talking about slow fashion these days, but what does slow fashion actually means? Again, for a lot of, I'm serious. Like, if you ask people, what does it actually mean? And most people would tell you slow fashion, it means things that you buy now and you get to keep for longer. So they're more, you're talking about more classic styles, more wardrobe staples. So things that will never go out of style, like a nice button-down shirt, or a nice logo T-shirts, or things like that would never go out of style. Those, you will get to wear them over time, and people call those things slow fashion. But for me, I feel like slow fashion really means is the pace of everything, the pace of the purchasing, the pace of your managing your life. You don't need to feel like you are, you need to get everything now straight away.
Right.
It's about, taking that time. You don't see, oh, there's a nice jewelry or hairbands that you're like, oh my God, I'm going to try it on straight away. Don't feel the urgency, but just give it time. And actually, talking about it, I feel like it reminded me of how when I was little, and my family is just very middle class family that I grew up in China, and my mom, whenever I want, as a girl, I love buying little things whenever even when I was a very little girl. But my mom would always tell me, just go away and think about it, sit on it overnight, and if tomorrow you still feel that you can't live without it, you can come back and buy it. But otherwise, I think it's very strange how I'm just remembering it as we were talking about it, because I really think that is the right approach. Whereas growing up, you kind of forgotten about all that, and you just like, I want this and I want it now, I want to try it on. If it doesn't suit me, I'll just return it. Easy. They make you, the businesses, the way that the businesses run these days, and the way they compete with each other, they create that sort of illusion that this is the way we work, we live our lives. But that's so not true. And actually, buying and returning things, it's like for everyone. But if you think about the carbon emission as associated to this purchasing, so ordering things, say you have it delivered to your home and then you have to return it if it doesn't suit you, this sort of action is very costly. It's costly for the companies, and it's costly for the earth because of all the environmental pollutions and everything, all the impacts that's associated to it, but many people don't consider it. So again, for me, slow fashion, it means less about the styles or the number of purchases you make. Yes, those are relevant, but it's also about an entire lifestyle. You've got to think about, do you actually need things straight away? Is there meaning to what you're doing? And eventually, actually, I think that's good for your own personal finances as well. So we exist, my label exists not to encourage people to buy more. We want to provide a better options when people are purchasing, when they have that need to purchase a bag. We want them to have this alternative that is better for the world, but at the same time, we want them to interact with us, create stories with us, understand where it comes from, how the products were made, and all the stories behind it, so that when they own this product, they can fully appreciate it. They don't just hold the bag and thinking, okay, this is a nice pretty bag, but they actually understand the full story of it. And I think that is very, very meaningful to me.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because it also makes you value it more when it's like, oh no, this I helped give some input on making it, I took the time to commit to getting it. You're much more likely to be like, no, I'm going to take care of it, I'm going to maintain it, use it for a long time. then if it is something immediate, like you said, we just have such a return policy culture. Just, well, we'll just return it. And it doesn't really, that speeds up the fashion in that way. It just speeds it up to, you're not thinking about the decision as much. You're just going, well, I can always undo it, right? It's like, it's an easy undo button.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I think we were encouraged to think that is more efficient. It's all about, it's making our lives efficient, but actually it's, on what cost is the question.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't, if you look at all the costs, it's not really efficient. It's actually inefficient.
Not at all. Yeah, definitely.
Which is crazy to think about, that we misinterpret that, right? So it's definitely something we need to work on undoing. Yeah, before we wrap up, this has been super amazing. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to share if there's anything else you wanted to talk about, or best way to find you, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. So well, our website is just moyalondon.com is the name. And find me personal, I can leave my email address. It's just my name, Moyang at moyalondon.com. So feel free, anybody who are interested in discussing more about sustainability or starting a new label, or anything as an entrepreneur, or just generally wanted to have a chat. I love meeting people. So feel free to drop me a line in my email. It's just my name, Moyang, at the business name, moyalondon.com. And yeah, so I think that was, Instagram as well. So come and say hi to us. And that is, again, our Instagram handle is just Moya London.
Perfect. And we'll make sure that there's links in the description for everyone. Definitely check out Instagram and follow the journey that you guys go through. It's great. I think it's really great to show that there's the process too, right? It's such a story, and it's good to share. It's not a instant, oh, there's the product, here you go. it's that doesn't exist for anyone.
Definitely.
So it's great to share that with people and have them be able to follow what you guys are doing. And,
definitely. And if anyone is on that path, already started something or thinking about it, or just generally loving to get involved in this kind of topics, and I'm here. I love to hear, what people think about, I've shared a lot of details about how we operate. And if you feel like that inspires any ideas, or wanted to give us suggestions, please come forward, because we do still there are lots of kinds of things we're still trying to figure out ourselves. So we would love to get some feedback, this especially around this kind of pre-order models, interactions. Check out our Instagram page and our stories, and let us know any kind of feedback you have. That would be so valuable too.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to get on the show and make this episode.
It's great. It's great pleasure to be here, Ian. I think you're doing amazing work promoting eco design and sustainable businesses. We really need more people and more platforms like this to be out there and just send a strong message.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.